Cease.
As the ladies, what about the open week? Sometimes, I know you can't, no control over it like the schedule, but sometimes it seems it comes at a good time, a bad time. So what about your Thursday off not playing? How about this week?
It was a great time for us to rest and focus on us. You know, with our limited number, it's been get them off their feet. Let's work on what we need to do that's necessary. And most of the time, that's just scouting report driven. So it was really good to, always we give them Monday off, and it was good to really just focus on us Tuesday, Wednesday. We gave them off yesterday, and we'll start talking about Vanderbilt today when we go to film.
What about some people talk about that? You always talk about your young team, a lot of times first SEC. What about playing? I've never been there, but people says that's a quirky gym. You probably hasn't changed maybe since you played there. What about, have you talked to the girls about that, or is it, you feel a quirky place?
It is a different place to play if you haven't played there, just because even from where you sit to go check into the game is different. We'll talk about that when we get there and have shoot around and address it. This is where you check in, this is where you sit, and then we'll move on. Yeah.
No problems, in other words. Right. Okay.
And, sometimes things become a problem when you make it one.
Okay. Thanks.
What were some of those things in terms of focusing on us y'all were trying to, emphasize this week?
Just really getting back to some fundamentals on just execution, screening, getting tons of shots up, footwork, skill development stuff. It was a really good 2 days for us to just focus on some things like that, tweak our offense in some areas, make sure some players that we have back are understanding some of the new things that we've done and put in, and then same thing defensively. When you just get into scout game, sometimes there's slippage in terms of fundamental things. And so it was nice to just have 2 practices where the sole focus was just Texas A&M and not worrying about, prepping for somebody else.
Was it particularly advantageous coming at a time where you're, bringing back some people, especially some people who can be pretty high usage players offensively for you?
It was good. It was nice for us to give some of the players that have been going really hard a break, right? And I'm sure they're happy to have a longer line and shooting drills and then some defensive drills as well. This league is tough. It wears on you mentally and physically. And sometimes your bye week comes early and sometimes it comes, you feel like too late. This was perfect for us right as you're approaching, the end of January going into February. So we were able to play a month, and, to have it Thursday just worked out for tons of reasons for us in a good way.
How do you take the win and turn it into 2?
By doing the same things we've been doing. How do we measure our success against Vanderbilt? And that's very different than how we prepared for Georgia and how we prepared for, Alabama before that. So it's taking this game and what's their plan A, and how do we take away plan A and make them go to plan B, plan C, and then offensively what we're going to have to do in order to be successful. So, it's just continuing to trust the process. Same conversation. Are we better today than we were yesterday? What did we learn from that? And how can we continue to get better?
How good does it feel to hit the road with more than 7?
Really good. I mean, our players who, we talk a lot about the 7 that have played, but the ones that are injured have worked their butt off too to get back on the floor and taken their rehab process really seriously. And that's pretty evident when you watch the Georgia game, how Tanea and Janiah were able to come in immediately and have the impact that they did. You could tell they really worked hard and stayed locked in when they were hurt. And that's hard to do sometimes. So I'm really looking forward to continuing to grow that number. Hopefully Sahara will be able to play on Sunday. We don't know that for sure, but that's our hope. And so it'll be good to have them in the mix.
Talk about taking plan A away. Their leading scorer, their guard, she gets to the foul line a lot. So what's the scouting report on containing her?
Good Lord. She's got to see somebody in front of her all night long. She shoots the ball really well. She's excellent off of ball screens. Vanderbilt gets to the free throw line second most of anybody in our conference. They average 6 threes a game. So they spread you out and space you. Everybody on the floor, for the most part, can shoot it really well. And then, they are excellent in ball screen offense. And so we've got to make sure that when they come off those ball screens, they have a hand in their face. They see chest on ball and make it tough for them around the rim, but not foul them. We've got to make sure that we don't let her go to the line by just giving her easy fouls.
Would appear you could maybe have more reserves than Vanderbilt. So how do you turn that around to your advantage? I know you hate your opponent, wish nothing poorly, but
right.
You use that to your advantage.
Well, I mean, Vanderbilt is in a very similar situation to what we've been in. They had some injuries at the very beginning of the year. So they've played with 8 for a really long time. We had to make that adjustment, in December once we lost some players, but they're in shape. They're used to playing in low numbers, and Shea does an amazing job of having them ready. They're really good. They're good at home, and they are really, really close. I feel like they're very similar to us, and they just have a lot of fight in them. They're tough. They know what it is they want to do, and they stick to their game plan. So, I think our plan is going to be the same as it always is. Are we going to try to take advantage and sub and run them? Sure, but I think a lot of teams have tried to do that as well. So I think they'll be ready for it.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.